Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel and welcome to this video. So this is part 3 of our C programming tutorial series, and in the previous video we have discussed the basic structure of our C program. So we have discussed the import statement, the main function, and then of course the lines to be executed by a program inside our main function. So the next thing that we want to talk about is the order of execution in every C program. So basically, if we have like 4 lines here to print something in our screen like this, so as I've said, in C program it is executing in order line by line. So this will be the first one, or the first line to be executed, and then the second line to be executed, the third line to be executed, and the fourth line to be executed. So for example, we'll try to make this 2, and then 3, or 3, and then 4. Let's try to build and run this. So we have the output as hello world, hello 2, hello number 3, and hello number 4. So basically, all the statements are executed in order line by line. So for example, we want to draw something in the screen. So like we want to draw a triangle. So here, and then another one here, and then another one, just to show you the sequence of execution of this particular C program. So right here, another slash, and then here, and maybe here, and another one, another line or vertical line, and also here. And we need to add the new line or line break for this print statements, and we can make this or add like the underscore. And let's try to build and run this, and you can see we have the triangle displayed in our screen, and that means that the lines has been printed or has been executed in order line per line. So if we try to make changes, and instead of placing it here, let's place it before printing the first line, so the output will be like this, funky looking shape. That's because we execute the first statement to have like the forward slash, the underscore, and then the vertical, and that's why we have an output like this. So just bear in mind that in every program it is executing line per line. Okay, so now let's try to discuss placeholders. Okay, placeholders for different data types. So in programming there are types or data types that we want to work with. So for example, string, we have characters, we have integer, we have float, and other data types. So for example, you want to display string, you just have to like say hello world, and this is a string. Let's just remove this. Okay, save and run and build. So we now have like the output of our program hello world. This is a string. But if you want to try, or if you want to print a number, so for example 32. So let's try this, run and build, and as you can see, we have returned negative 10, 7, 3, 4, 8, 1, or 1, 8, and 1, 9. So basically what this means is that there's something wrong with our program, because as I've said before, 0 should be the standard or the return if the program runs smoothly, or there's no problem while running our program. So basically here we have negative, so it means we have problems, right? And we can see here that note expected constant char, but argument is of type int, as you can see here. So basically we cannot directly display number by using this, so we can use placeholder for that. So this will be for our placeholder. So instead of using directly 32 here, we can say percent and then d. So d is for integer. So if you want to display integer, you might want to use the %d placeholder, and then inside this printf statement you need to add the comma and then of course the value that you want to be printed. So %d and then comma and then the actual value that you want to be printed. So let's try that. Build and print, or build and run, and as you can see here, process returns 0, and then we have here the value 32. So let's try this one more time, \n, build and run, and here we can see clearly what is happening here. So hello world, this is a string and the value 32. So that's the purpose of %d, is a placeholder for an integer value. Another one we have for large integer. So for example, there are like a very large number or very large integer. The keyword for that, or the placeholder for that, is LD, which stands for large integer. Okay, so for example, we have like very big integer right here. Okay, so that's the placeholder %LD. And then of course we also have for decimal values or float values. So for example, you want to say 32.5 or 32.5. This is for, again, decimal or float value. Okay, let's just say float value here. So %f, %d for integer, %ld for large integer, %f for float number, and another one for large float. Okay, so this will be for large float, and then another one for, so for example, you want to display a character and you want to display like letter A. So the placeholder for that is %c and then the actual value that should be typed in inside the single quote characters. So this will be for a char or character. And then another one is for the string. So for example, you want to display hello world. This is a string, and then you want to display that. You can also use %s for the placeholder for that. So you can say hello from printf. Okay, so this will be for our string. So basically, string is just a series of characters, meaning string is just composed of several characters. So for example, this one, HELLO and FRO from, and so on. You get the idea. But basically, all these placeholders can be used to display different values or different types of values. The integer, large integer, float, large float, character, and string. So let's try to display this and maybe add the \n here and here, also here, 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 and here. So build and run. There you go. You can see here the output of our program, and we did not specify directly the values of this figures. So instead, we're using printf and then the placeholder. So for example, %d for integer, %d for large integer, and so on. So I think that's it for this particular tutorial.